In a bustling Old West saloon, where smoke hung thick and the clatter of poker chips mingled with raucous laughter, there was a man no one truly noticed. Day after day, he knelt by the entrance, quietly cleaning the boots of cowboys, outlaws, and travelers alike. His hands were rough and steady, worn from years of labor, his face a mask of humility and silence. To the patrons, he was just another shadow in the background, a boot cleaner whose place was beneath the grandeur of the town's louder, prouder figures. But beneath his modest exterior lay a story far greater than anyone could have imagined. No one guessed that this man carried a past filled with honor, sacrifice, and unspoken heroism. While he scrubbed leather with unwavering dedication, his heart bore the weight of battles fought in distant lands and wars waged for a country he loved fiercely. The medal tucked safely away beneath his tattered shirt was a silent testament to courage and valor that no saloon patron could see or appreciate. He had given everything, only to find himself reduced to a quiet existence in a world that had moved on without him. His life seemed destined to blend into the background, a forgotten hero lost among the dust and noise of the frontier. Yet fate has a way of unveiling truth when least expected. One day, an unexpected visitor arrived, a man of great power and influence, the president himself. Their encounter was quiet at first, overshadowed by the hustle of the saloon, but quickly became a moment that would turn the tables of history and reveal the remarkable legacy hidden behind a humble pair of boots. The story that follows is not just about boots or medals, but about the invisible sacrifices made by those who refuse glory yet shape the course of nations. It is a tale of honor hidden in plain sight, and a reminder that true greatness is often found where we least expect it, in the quiet acts of devotion and the courage that refuses to fade with time. Prepare to uncover the incredible journey of a man whose hands cleaned boots by day and carried the weight of a nation's gratitude by night, a story that will challenge your perceptions and inspire your soul. The man's days in the saloon began before dawn, his hands steady as they scrubbed the worn boots of cowboys and drifters. The saloon was a world apart, a cacophony of laughter, gunshots, and clinking glasses, yet he remained unseen, an invisible presence in the background. Each boot he polished carried the dust and stories of the frontier, but none told of his own journey, a path marked by battles, loss, and silent sacrifice. His weathered face betrayed no hint of the heroism buried beneath his humble routine. To the townfolk, he was nothing more than a boot cleaner, a man resigned to anonymity. Yet his past was anything but ordinary. Before settling into the quiet obscurity of the saloon, he had walked through the thunder of cannons and the smoke of wars fought far from this dusty town. The medal he kept hidden beneath his shirt was a badge of valor, awarded for acts of bravery that saved countless lives. But in the aftermath of the violence, the country had moved on, and so had the recognition he deserved. The man had returned to a world that no longer needed heroes, leaving him to carry his honor in silence while polishing the boots of strangers. Despite the loneliness, he found a strange comfort in the rhythm of his work, the steady scrape of brush against leather, the predictable flow of patrons entering and leaving. It was a world he could control, unlike the chaos of battlefields past. Still, the weight of forgotten glory pressed on him, a heavy reminder of a life once lived in the spotlight but now dimmed by time. The saloon walls held countless stories, but his was the one that seemed destined to remain untold. Then, one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the saloon filled with the familiar murmur of voices, a new presence entered, a man whose power and presence commanded immediate attention. The President of the United States had come to this remote frontier town, a place far removed from the halls of power and politics. His arrival was unexpected, and the townsfolk buzzed with whispers, but the boot cleaner noticed something different in the president's eyes, a recognition, a memory sparked by the faint glint of the hidden medal. What followed was a quiet encounter that would forever change the man's life and reveal a story of sacrifice and honor hidden in plain sight. It was a moment when the past collided with the present, forcing the world to remember a hero who had given everything yet asked for nothing in return. The boot cleaner's story was about to be told, not through words, but through the simple act of returning a medal, a gesture that spoke louder than any speech or ceremony. The president's visit to the saloon was met with a mixture of awe and suspicion. He was a man used to command, but here, in the rough-and-tumble frontier town, his authority was tempered by the roughness of the land and the guarded nature of its people. As he sat at the bar, the eyes of many turned to the quiet figure kneeling nearby, diligently cleaning boots. Something in the man's steady gaze caught the president's attention, a hint of a story waiting beneath the surface. Curiosity overcame protocol, and the president approached the boot cleaner, initiating a conversation that was as unexpected as it was profound. They spoke little at first, their words measured and cautious, but with every exchanged glance, a bridge formed between two men from vastly different worlds. The president, recognizing the man's humility and strength, asked about the medal, the symbol of bravery tucked away for so long. The man's fingers tightened around the rag, reluctant to reveal a past he had tried to leave behind. But the president insisted, reminding him that true honor does not fade with time or distance. The medal was more than metal and ribbon. It was a testament to courage, sacrifice, and the bonds forged in the heat of battle. In that moment, the boot cleaner revealed the story of his service, the battles fought, and the comrades lost. His voice, low but steady, carried the weight of memory and pain, opening a window into a life lived far beyond the dusty floors of the saloon. Moved by the man's story, the president did something unexpected. He accepted the medal not as a symbol to be hung on a wall, but as a reminder of the sacrifices made by countless unsung heroes. The boot cleaner, in turn, returned the medal to the president, a gesture laden with meaning. It was an act of humility and defiance, a statement that honor belongs not to individuals, but to the nation and its people. The saloon, once a place of quiet anonymity for the man, now echoed with the profound weight of recognition. This exchange became a turning point, not just for the boot cleaner, but for everyone who witnessed it. It challenged assumptions about who deserved honor and recognition, and reminded the world that heroism often hides in the most unexpected places. The man who cleaned boots had given back a medal, not to claim glory, but to acknowledge a greater story of sacrifice and unity that transcended the boundaries of fame and fortune. The story of the boot cleaner began to spread through the town like wildfire, igniting whispers of respect and admiration among the very people who had once overlooked him. Folks who had barely spared him a glance now spoke in hushed tones about the quiet man with the weathered hands, the one who had once carried the weight of a nation's gratitude in silence. His humble act of returning the medal to the president was more than a simple gesture. It was a profound declaration that true honor is not worn for applause, but carried in one's heart, unyielding and steadfast. The man had lived among them, cleaning boots, serving without fanfare, embodying the spirit of sacrifice that so many failed to recognize. But beneath the newfound recognition, the boot cleaner remained unchanged, steadfast and modest. He understood that his place was not on a pedestal, but among the people whose boots he polished daily. His story was a testament to the countless unsung heroes scattered across the frontier, men and women whose sacrifices kept the fragile fabric of the nation intact. He became a symbol, not just of bravery, but of humility, reminding everyone that greatness often lives in quiet service, away from the spotlight. The president's visit had also stirred memories within the community, rekindling stories of battles fought and lives lost. Veterans and settlers alike found themselves reflecting on the cost of freedom and the sacrifices made by those who came before. The boot cleaner's story became a touchstone, inspiring others to look beyond the surface and honor the quiet strength that often goes unnoticed. The saloon, once a place of noise and revelry, transformed into a space of reverence and shared history, where every boot cleaned carried a legacy. Yet, the man's journey was far from over. Though he had given back the medal, he still carried the invisible scars of war and the weight of memories too heavy to share with many. His path forward was uncertain, but the recognition had given him a renewed sense of purpose. He was no longer just a boot cleaner. He was a living reminder that courage and sacrifice are the foundations upon which legends are built, even when they walk unnoticed through the dust of the West. As the sun set over the frontier town, casting long shadows across the wooden streets. The boot cleaner's story continued to unfold, a story of quiet heroism, unwavering dignity, and the enduring power of honor hidden in the most unexpected places. The transformation of the man's life was subtle but profound. From the quiet corners of the saloon to the streets of the town, people began to see him differently, not as a background figure, but as a man who embodied the very essence of the Old West's rugged honor. Children listened wide-eyed to the stories told by veterans, learning that true courage was not just about guns and battles, but about the strength to carry on with grace and humility. The boot cleaner became a living legend, a bridge between the past sacrifices and the present's promise. With this new respect came responsibilities the man never sought, but accepted with quiet dignity. He became a mentor to young men and women navigating the treacherous frontier, teaching them lessons not only about survival, but about integrity, sacrifice, and the importance of serving others without seeking fame or reward. His worn hat became a symbol of wisdom and resilience, a beacon for those searching for guidance in a world often harsh and unforgiving. The saloon, once merely a workplace, became a gathering place for reflection and remembrance. The man's story intertwined with those of others who had lived through the trials of war and hardship, weaving a tapestry of shared experience and mutual respect. Together, they honored the past while forging a future rooted in the values of courage, compassion, and humility. Despite the accolades and the growing recognition, the man remained grounded, never losing sight of where he came from or the sacrifices that had shaped him. His life was a reminder that greatness is not measured by titles or medals, but by the quiet strength to face each day with honor. In a land as wild and unpredictable as the West, he stood as a testament to the enduring spirit of those who give everything without asking for anything in return. As the days passed and the frontier sun cast its golden light over the town, the man continued his work, cleaning boots, listening to stories, and living a legacy that transcended fame. His story was a quiet song of courage, a reminder that sometimes the greatest heroes walk among us, unnoticed but never forgotten. As the story of the boot cleaner spread beyond the dusty streets of the frontier town, it began to touch hearts in places far removed from saloons and stables. Letters arrived from distant towns, from soldiers who had fought alongside him, and from families who had lost loved ones in the battles he silently bore. They spoke of gratitude and remembrance, of how his quiet courage had inspired their own. The medal he once wore, now safely returned, became a symbol not just of his valor, but of the countless unnamed sacrifices made in the shadows of history. His life was a reminder that true heroism is often unspoken, woven into the fabric of everyday deeds and quiet endurance. Despite the growing attention, the man remained rooted in humility. He continued his work in the saloon, his hands steady and skilled, polishing boots with the same care he had always shown. To him, it was not the medal or the recognition that mattered, but the simple dignity of honest labor and the respect earned through action rather than words. The patrons who once overlooked him now watched with newfound admiration, recognizing that behind the worn hat and steady hands lay a story of profound sacrifice and resilience. The community began to rally around him, organizing small gatherings to honor veterans and share stories of courage. The saloon became a place of remembrance and respect, a sanctuary where the past and present intertwined. The man's presence brought a sense of unity to a town often divided by hardships and struggles, reminding everyone that their shared history was a powerful bond. His story encouraged others to look beyond appearances and acknowledge the quiet strength in those around them. Yet, with recognition came new challenges. The man grappled with the memories of war, the faces of comrades lost, the weight of battles fought. Though the medal no longer hung hidden beneath his shirt, the emotional scars remained. He found solace in the simple routines of daily life and the companionship of those who understood his journey. His resilience became a beacon, illuminating the path for others who carried invisible burdens yet continued to stand tall. As twilight settled over the frontier, the man looked toward the horizon with quiet resolve. His story was no longer confined to the saloon shadows. It had become a legacy of honor, humility, and enduring courage, a testament to the power of silent sacrifice in shaping the history of the West. The man's journey took on new meaning as he embraced the role of mentor and storyteller. Young men and women, eager to understand the true spirit of the frontier, sought him out. They listened intently as he recounted lessons of perseverance, respect, and the importance of humility. He spoke not of glory, but of duty, the duty to serve others without expectation of reward and to carry one's burdens with grace. His weathered hat became a symbol of this wisdom, worn proudly as a reminder of the strength found in quiet dignity. The town itself transformed as the legacy of the boot cleaner inspired acts of kindness and community building. Neighbors came together to support one another, recognizing that survival in the West was not just about individual grit, but about the bonds forged in trust and shared hardship. The saloon remained a hub of stories and fellowship, a place where the past was honored and the future envisioned with hope. The man's presence was a constant reminder that heroism lives in everyday acts, and that respect is the foundation of any strong community. Amidst the backdrop of the rugged frontier, new challenges arose: land disputes, changing laws, and the constant threat of conflict. Yet, the man's example of resilience and humility provided guidance during turbulent times. His story encouraged others to face adversity, not with bravado, but with steady resolve and compassion. He became a symbol of the enduring spirit that defined the West, a spirit that balanced strength with kindness and courage with humility. As years passed, the man's story was woven into the fabric of the town's history. It was told around campfires and in quiet moments, a reminder that greatness often hides in the most unassuming places. His legacy transcended the medal and the battles, living on in the hearts of those who learned from his example. The boots he polished and the lives he touched bore witness to a life lived with honor and quiet dignity. Under the vast western sky, the man's journey stood as a testament to the power of silent sacrifice and the profound impact of everyday heroism. His story reminds us that true greatness is not always celebrated with fanfare, but lives on in the humble acts that shape our world. The years rolled on, and with them came change to the dusty town and its people. The man who once labored unseen, polishing boots behind the saloon's swinging doors, had become a pillar of quiet strength and wisdom. His stories, shared in low tones and around flickering fires, offered lessons not only of war but of life, how honor, humility, and kindness forge bonds stronger than any gunshot. Youngsters listened closely, inspired not by tales of glory, but by the deep truth that heroism often hides in selfless acts, performed away from the spotlight. Though the man had long buried the harshness of battle, its echoes sometimes stirred in his eyes, reminding him of comrades lost and battles that shaped him. Yet, he carried those memories like sacred relics, reminders of what had been sacrificed for freedom and peace. His weathered hat, once a shield against the elements, now symbolized a journey of resilience and grace. Every boot he polished told a story, not just of those who wore them, but of the countless unsung heroes whose names might never be spoken, but whose courage kept a nation standing. The saloon, once a mere place of drink and gambling, had transformed under his quiet influence into a sanctuary of respect and remembrance. Veterans and townsfolk gathered there to honor the past, share stories, and find solace. The man's presence brought a calm dignity, bridging generations and experiences. He reminded them all that every person's story mattered, that greatness was as much about empathy and sacrifice as it was about fame or fortune. Despite the calm, the frontier's dangers never truly faded. Conflicts over land, lawlessness, and hardship remained constant threats. But the community, inspired by the man's example, stood united. They faced these trials not with arrogance, but with steady hearts and open hands. His life had taught them that strength lay in unity, humility, and perseverance, virtues that outlasted even the wildest storms. As the sun set over the rugged horizon, casting long shadows over the town's wooden facades, the man continued his humble work. But his legacy had taken root in the hearts of many, a lasting testament to the power of silent courage and enduring honor in a world that often forgot the quiet heroes. time's relentless march brought both new faces and fading memories to the frontier town. The man's influence, however, remained steady as the mountains that framed the endless sky. He became a living legend, not for grand deeds shouted from rooftops, but for the strength he lent quietly to those who crossed his path. His stories were woven into the fabric of the town's identity, lessons in courage, kindness, and the grace to accept both victory and loss. The woman who once watched him clean boots saw in him not just a survivor, but a man who embodied the best of the West. Their lives, though separate, were intertwined through the community they nurtured and the respect they inspired. Together, their legacies shaped a place where honor wasn't measured by medals alone, but by the compassion shown in everyday acts, a truth as enduring as the dusty trails that led them here. New challenges arose with the changing times, federal laws, railroads expanding, and the ever-shifting landscape of power and promise. Yet, the foundation laid by the man and those like him held firm. The town weathered storms of change because it was built on something deeper than land or gold. It was built on respect, resilience, and the courage to stand quietly in the face of adversity. As twilight painted the sky in hues of amber and violet, the man looked toward the horizon, content in the knowledge that his journey, though humble, had left an indelible mark. His worn hat sat nearby, a silent companion to a life lived with dignity. In the hearts of those who knew him, he was more than a boot cleaner. He was a beacon of hope, a reminder that true heroism often walks unseen. Under the vast, endless sky of the Old West, his story lives on, a testament to the power of silent strength, the dignity of humble service, and the lasting impact of quiet courage. The legacy of the man who cleaned boots with unwavering humility began to ripple far beyond the wooden walls of the saloon and the dusty streets of the frontier town. Stories of his quiet heroism and the day he returned a medal to the president became tales told in hushed reverence around campfires and in schoolhouses. His journey inspired not only those who had witnessed it firsthand, but also generations who sought meaning in the harsh wilderness of the Old West. In a land often defined by violence and lawlessness, his story was a powerful reminder that courage can manifest in silence, and that the truest heroes are often those who never seek the spotlight. Communities across the frontier began to honor the unsung sacrifices of veterans and everyday heroes alike. Memorials were erected and gatherings held, not just for celebrated warriors, but for those whose valor had been hidden beneath the weight of hardship. The man's example challenged prevailing notions of fame and greatness, teaching that dignity and strength reside equally in simple acts of service and perseverance. His worn hat and polished boots became symbols of a deeper truth, that respect is earned through integrity and humility. Yet, the passage of time brought new trials. As the West grew and transformed with the arrival of railroads, settlers, and new laws, the town and its people faced the uncertainties of progress. The man, now older but no less steady, witnessed these changes with a quiet resolve. He understood that the world he had known was evolving, but the values he lived by, honor, kindness, and resilience, were timeless. His story, woven into the fabric of the community, provided a steady compass for those navigating an uncertain future. The saloon, once the backdrop of his anonymity, had become a place of memory and celebration, where the past and present intertwined. Veterans shared stories of sacrifice, and young folk learned the lessons of courage not from books, but from the living embodiment of the man's journey. His legacy became a beacon for all who struggled to find their place in a rapidly changing world, a reminder that true strength lies in the spirit, not in fame or fortune. As the stars blanketed the vast western sky, the man's story echoed through the quiet night, a testament to the enduring power of humility, courage, and the profound impact of quiet, steadfast service in shaping history's course. The final chapter in the man's story was not marked by grand ceremonies or lasting monuments, but by the enduring respect of a community forever changed by his example. His life was a quiet saga of sacrifice and dignity, a narrative that transcended medals and accolades to touch the very heart of what it means to be human. The boots he cleaned, the metal he returned, and the humble work he carried out became a powerful metaphor for a legacy built on love, resilience, and unwavering honor. As the frontier gave way to the dawn of a new era, the man's presence remained a grounding force, a living connection to the past, and a source of inspiration for the future. His story reminded everyone that heroism is often found not in loud declarations or battlefield glory, but in the small, steadfast acts that uphold community, integrity, and hope. He taught that a life of service, no matter how humble, can leave an indelible mark far greater than any medal can convey. The town, now vibrant and growing, held fast to the values he embodied. The lessons he imparted became woven into the very soul of the place, guiding those who followed toward lives marked by courage, kindness, and humility. His worn hat, resting quietly in the corner of the saloon, became a symbol of the strength found in simplicity and quiet dignity. Under the expansive western sky, the man's journey stood as a timeless testament to the power of resilience, the grace of humility, and the profound impact of honoring those who serve without seeking glory. His story endures, a beacon for all who believe that true greatness lives in the heart's quiet courage. As the sun sets on the rugged horizon, his legacy reminds us that sometimes the most powerful stories are those whispered softly, etched not in stone, but in the hearts of those touched by silent heroism. The story of the boot cleaner who returned a medal to the president is a powerful testament to the quiet strength and humility that often define true heroism. It reminds us that greatness is not measured by fame or accolades, but by the courage to serve others selflessly and with integrity. Throughout this journey, we have witnessed how resilience and honor can live quietly in the shadows, waiting to be recognized not with fanfare, but with respect and gratitude. His legacy calls us to look beyond the surface and value the unseen sacrifices that shape our world. As we reflect on this remarkable tale, we are challenged to ask ourselves what it truly means to be a hero. Is it the one who stands in the spotlight, or the one who labors in silence, lifting others up without seeking praise? This story invites us to embrace a deeper understanding of courage, one that values humility, kindness, and perseverance in the face of adversity. It is a call to honor those whose contributions often go unnoticed, but whose impact is profound and lasting. In a world that can sometimes glorify power and recognition, this narrative offers a refreshing perspective that the greatest legacies are built through everyday acts of dedication and compassion. The worn hat and polished boots are more than symbols. They represent the enduring human spirit that perseveres through hardship and chooses dignity over despair. Let this story inspire you to see the quiet heroes in your own life and to cultivate that same spirit of humility and strength. As the sun sets on this chapter of history, may we carry forward the lessons learned from the man behind the boots, lessons of courage found in silence, honor earned through service, and the profound impact of humility. Let his story remind us all that sometimes the most powerful voices are the ones that speak softly, yet resonate eternally. If this story moved you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. What does true heroism mean to you? And if you want to hear more stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul, be sure to subscribe and like this video. Your support helps keep these timeless tales alive, guiding us all toward greater empathy, courage, and connection, one story at a time.